Welcome everyone. Really happy to see you here. Before we start, just a reminder that this session is being recorded. And also for those of you who prefer the closed captions on, please just click the CC button at the bottom of your Zoom. And without further ado, let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Emma's Hip Hop R&B Managers Meetup number 3. It's lovely to see so many of you here. My name is Michelle Ronquillo, and I am Emma's event manager. Just a little bit about us. Within Emma, we unite music managers organizations across 16 European countries, which represent more than 3,000 managers across Europe. We've made it our mission to strengthen European managers globally through our Empower program, which encompasses education, advocacy, networking, and research. Empower is a project co-founded by the European Union. If you want to know more about us, or if you want to stay up to date with the upcoming events, make sure to visit our website, follow us on social media, and join our dedicated WhatsApp group. Sign up to our newsletter. I will put all the links in the chat in a little bit. Within the chat, there is also a general manager's contact list where you can leave your contact details and find the details of others. Also, when you log off soon, at the end of the session, a super brief survey will pop up. Please take a moment to fill it out, as your feedback helps us massively to improve the upcoming events. Now I'm going to share the agenda of today. Please bear with me. Let me know if you can see this. I can see some nodding faces. So we are in very good company. We have a stellar lineup of speakers today. And this session is going to be moderated by Vanessa Sinclair, manager and also member of the Emma Hip Hop and R&B Managers Steering Committee. And yeah, let's dive in. Let's find out everything about the art of creating that effective booking process. Before I forget this session, at the end of the session, there will be networking breakout rooms. So we invite you to stay till the end. And then I will let you know when this is happening to give you the chance to stay with us or to say goodbye. But don't worry, I will let you know when that happens. And also, make sure to add all the questions in the chat so they get answered. And without further ado, let's get into it. Vanessa, over to you.
Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's okay. I'm just going to do a quick introduction of myself, and then I'll get our lovely panelists to introduce themselves as well. So I'm Vanessa Sinclair. As Michelle says, I'm a manager, also event manager, booker, promoter. I run an event for up-and-coming artists. I'm also involved in running a festival in Shrewsbury. So yeah, that's me. Dotun, do you want to introduce yourself?
Pleasure. Nice to meet you all. My name's Dotun. I'm a booking agent in Primary Talent International, mostly specialising in sort of your hip hop to R&B, often in the more alternative space, but things through to dance music, to jazz tinged music. Yeah, been here a year and a half previously at Runway for a period of time, and previously an independent promoter. So hopefully I've got some understanding of that side of things as well, which can be helpful to the conversation.
Great, thank you. Toby?
Hi, I'm Toby. I'm manager of UK R&B artist Nipper. Achieved multiple mobile nominations. I've been managing for about 3-4 years now, and yeah, that's me.
Jackie?
Yes, I'm a booking agent for different kind of artists, and the main focus is Switzerland and Germany, but I also do Europe. And I'm the founder and curator of the Jenseits von Nelken und Pralinen Festival. You can translate it kind of beyond carnation and chocolates, with focus on rap music, but it doesn't mean that it have to be hip hop. And the DJ.
Thomas?
Yeah, hi, I'm Thomas Ovesen. I'm based in Dubai, have been a promoter mainly, but producer booker for the last 25 years in the Middle East, working across the region. Right now we have a 9-show Bryan Adams tour that kicked off the day before yesterday in Kolkata in India. He's in Shillong today, and we have 7 more shows to go. We do everything from urban DJs to hard rock across the region, and in the different markets, but mainly based out of Dubai.
Great, thank you very much. Right, we're gonna jump straight into it because we have a lot to get through. So the first question I'm going to ask, it's about the do's and don'ts, and it's around like that initial contact with managers. So when a manager reaches out to you in relation to booking or working with an artist, what makes that initial approach stand out to you? And then the flip side, what are your pet hates? So it's looking at the do's and don'ts in terms of when you're making those initial contacts. Yeah, any of the bookers who wants to jump in first?
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No.
So I'm a buyer, so I'm normally at the end of that sort of ecosystem, and I deal with agents mainly, and I don't normally have a relationship with manager till we book the artist and perhaps we get on with doing the shows. And it's important for my relationship with the agents to respect the relationship they have with the manager. So it's rare, and it's very selected agents that allow a conversation between manager and buyer on a regular basis. Many agents would be very protective of their relationship, and so I'm normally the last person a manager gets to talk to, unless it's someone that's very inquisitive about the market and really challenge their agent to research the market. And so we have back and forth on how we should best price or play the artist, what venue, when, and in what markets.
Right, thank you.
For me, the don'ts you should think about, or every artist or managers should think they are managers, or just the husband or the friend who is doing the kind of managing. Because I had different experiences with I would say real manager. They are really can provide all the stuff for you that you can do the booking, and then the kind of managers, they say, yeah, I'm your friend, I can do something. So it's important that the manager, it's a manager.
Yeah. Do follow up. We get a lot of emails. Things can get missed, so do follow up. But I think there's a balance between following up and harassing. It might be a case that there is potential there, but if that leads to the point of harassment, I've had people turning up at the office, calling the office phone on numerous occasions, despite kind of communicating that I don't think I'm the right agent for it. But like the odd follow up here and there, because things do get missed. I'd say that's a do and a don't in one. In terms of initial outreach with agents, provide us with a concise layout of information. So what the artist has done, what the artist is doing, what you plan to do. Those are the things, but keep it concise, keep it clear to read rather than just paragraphs and paragraphs. Yes, I would say I'd read through it, but I know a lot of agents would see that, and considering they've got busy stuff to do, it might be a reason that things get overlooked.
Okay, and we're gonna get it from Toby's point of view. So how do you actually approach like booking agents or bookers?
I think for me, before we had an agent on board, I just researched like other artists, booking agents. So like on the website, they'll have like names of some of the artists that they'll work with. I think on some agents' websites, they will actually say like who's actually appointed to the artist. And for me personally, I guess like when we started independently, I didn't have much of a network. I kind of just researched and tried to find emails online. And yeah, as Dotun said, like I would email and then follow up if I didn't get a response, and just kind of keep them updated. I'd kind of use the following up as like updating. Like if I didn't get an initial response, then maybe rather than just following up, I'd email and let them know like, we've done X, Y, Z. So like, for example, with Nipper, we done a Craig David support tour prior to even having an agent. So I would just kind of keep them updated with, some of the things that are going on. just to kind of you know, let them know that, you know, it's something that's worth you know, looking into. So yeah, that's how I approached initially. Yeah.
Yeah, great answers there.
I agree with Toby there a lot. I think coming with updates of what's like gone on rather than the you haven't replied to my email, what's going on, entitlement can be not helpful. I've heard stories. So yeah, updates are really helpful. Obviously we try and keep an eye on what's going on, but things are always moving. So yeah, I completely agree with Toby there.
Great. So the next question I'm going to ask is, because I have spoke to other booking agents, and they do sort of look at numbers and what artists are doing. So would you say, should an artist have reached specific metrics or milestones for you to consider like working with them or booking them?
I would say it's something we look at, but it's definitely not the be all and end all. It's definitely not the be all and end all. I think the bottom line is also understanding that the talent is there. On top of that, seeing that there is a team around it that is like Jackie was saying, there is a team around it that actually is a manager, or there's a lawyer that we trust and know well, or there's a label behind it, that there is a team around it. Obviously, numbers can help, but at the same time, they can be misleading. There are obviously artists that are streaming XYZ, but can't sell that many tickets. So it's not the only metric. I think the most, I would always say the currency that we're looking at is tickets sold. So that's probably the most important metric in terms of, okay, what tickets have you sold in XYZ city? And it doesn't have to be that the numbers are huge. We just have to see that, okay, cool, there's potential. They've not just done it once. There's been that level of consistency in terms of building an audience in different markets, and where we can that's the point we can come in and really move the needle when we know, okay, there's tickets here. We feel like in this market we can do that, and we can build out in this way, and put a strategy around how we build around that already budgeting traction that they have in a specific market.
Okay. So you're saying that an artist or a manager shouldn't approach until they know that their artist is selling tickets, really? Because
I wouldn't say that's the only thing we're looking at. I'd say it's the thing that probably moves people's eyes the most, as in gets people's attention the most. But at the same time, the quality music is important. The ability to perform live is important. Having a team around you is important. And if we believe in an artist, then why not take the early risk? And we do take that early. We absolutely take that early risk if we believe an artist has that potential. But obviously, that's numbers is something you take into account, from my opinion, anyway.
great. Anyone else got any?
I totally agree. And I would add that be sure or make sure that your artist is prepared for the stage, because often you can see they can perform in front of a camera, doing great videos for Insta, TikTok, or I don't know, but they have to be good on stage. They have to rehearse. They should, provide a good show.
Great. Anyone else want to add? What about you, Thomas?
I would say, if I could jump in, I would say if the question here is about how you pick your agent as a buyer in the Middle East, I would say we mainly book really artists at their peak, or perhaps even on the back of their peak. We're not a sort of career developing market yet, because we don't have the small mid-level venues, but we have the ability to pay premium fees, so artists come to our region and in general make a lot of money. But I have a lot of the agents that I book the established artists from that will use that relationship to push upcoming artists. And I don't think I would be exposed to those upcoming artists if it was an independent agency. So in my part of the world, I think it's an advantage for an artist if they're represented by some of the big agencies that are dealing with us already, where they have an opportunity to push a new artist, and we then put them in a club or whatever, and start working with them. Independent agencies will have a much harder time in the Middle East.
Right. So I want to ask the question about what a good working relationship looks like. So what do managers? So Toby, what do you expect from the booking agent? Thomas, what do you expect from the booking agent? And then agents, what do you expect from working with managers? So we're looking at like good working relationships.
I think, yeah, constantly like checking in, catching up, with our agents, we're always filling them in on our plans for the year. I feel like, I guess, like, for an agent to do their work, it's important for an artist to also be active, especially in like the early stages. So for us, a lot of the time, it's just kind of filling them in what our plans are, anything that's changing, what our aspirations are as well, like what are some of the things like we're targeting to do. And I think it's also good to actually build like a good personal relationship as well, man. I feel like it makes, yeah, I feel like in all business relationships, it's good to actually like know each other. So sometimes it might even just be like, just a quick catch up, or if there's some sort of common ground, like our agents are really into football, so sometimes it might even just be like a general chat just about that. It just kind of helps with rapport and stuff. So yeah, man, I think at the end, yeah, like just keeping them updated with everything that's going on, really and truly. Yeah.
Yeah. Button.
I would agree completely. It's that I think the updates need to work both ways. There needs to be that level of communication that, one, we know what's going on your side, we know what's going on our side. I feel like I'm repeating what Toby said, but like we can do stuff without a structure, but it doesn't move the needle forward. So a good manager is able to say, okay, this is what the plan is over the year. Realistically, we want to be working with a long-term plan, because that's how you, again, move the needle on things. That says, okay, this is the plan, implements that plan, and that means that what we're doing on our side actually has a difference, because there's the music, there's the campaign around it to actually propel the wider project. Yeah, and like you're saying, having a rapport, catching up, going for like the quarterly lunches, going for your Christmas lunches, all that jazz. Again, just builds that level of trust and understanding. Because realistically, we're all trusting on each other to get stuff done. And when you're working with someone who's reliable, in the times where it's a bit more like of a push up the hill, it just brings that team energy, brings that the team energy, really.
Yeah. Thomas, in terms of you working with the agent, what's a good relationship look like?
So as the promoter, my deal is actually with the manager and the artist, but it's brokered by the agent. So I need the agent to be tight with the manager. I need the agent to have all the information that I'm going to ask questions about when I make my offer. Will the artist do an after party? Will they do social media postings? How long is this set? How many are traveling, so I can work out the cost of flights and whatever in my situation. So the worst thing that I can encounter is that I make an offer and the agent tells me, oh, I can't get the response from the management or whatever. That doesn't help the deal. Next is the issue of the back and forth to get a deal to lock in. If the agent representing the best interest of the artist have picked me as the preferred promoter, the manager should roll with that, because there's obviously a reason, and it avoids them wasting time on other promoters that for whatever reason might not be able to do the deal. And a lot of times we will give some feedback on perhaps the artist wants to play in an arena, but they're not ready to play in an arena in our market. So in this particular case, it's better to play another venue and then come back 8 to 12 months later and play the bigger venue. Those conversations I have with the agent or with the manager. So I really benefit from when agent and manager have a great relationship.
Great. Jackie, do you want to add anything?
I totally agree. Trust, reliable. Oh God, my English, reliable. The manager should be trustful relationship, and reliable is really important. The point that you are in the middle as booking agent, and if you are waiting 2 weeks on an answer, and really important is that the manager should provide the booking agent with all the things that could happen. For example, as curator, I booked the artist from Spain, and then she couldn't fly because she is anxious about flying. So it was like, oh, what the fuck? So yeah, made clear you have to know your artist and you should give the information. Sometimes it feels a bit weird maybe to say, my artist can't fly, but we want that they go, I don't know, over the sea and they're there. Keep in mind the things.
I think Thomas sort of touched on it briefly, but what sort of things should the managers, should the bookers have in place? And like same from you, Toby, what do you have ready to give the bookers just to make sure that, you know, the booking is successful and that the promoters are happy, the agents happy, the managers happy? So what sort of things should, you know, everyone have in place to provide the bookers with, to provide the agent with, manager, what should you have in place?
Something that I feel like is important is having a one sheet together. So one sheet's just like a file of just like, or like a page of just like all, I guess, like the artist stats, achievements, and just stuff that, you know, relevant information that can kind of give, you know, somebody who maybe doesn't know too much about your artist a brief rundown of some of the things that they've accomplished, and I guess like an insight as to, you know, why they might be right for that booking. Other things, you know, stuff like a tech rider, which is like, you know, just some of the requirements that the artist might need for their performance. A hospitality rider, of course. I guess like as you grow as well, like you have like a tour manager who I guess will also like, you know, help with providing some of the things that, you know, a manager might not have the expertise in. But essentially you should have like an idea of, you know, what you need to provide, and you know, at the stage where it's necessary, where things are busy, is where you, I guess, you'd get a tour manager involved. So yeah.
Right. Jackie?
I would say the same. Tech writer, hospitality writer, promo pictures, a short about the artist history. This is the basics, I would say. And then keeping updated about a new album or something. So.
Anyone else want to add anything? No.
Actually said it all. You've said it all.
Right. Now we're looking at what are the normal deals that booking agents, bookers have with managers in terms of like commission. So what are the sort of different commissions that people do?
The standard is just 10% off the booking fee. So we take 10% of the booking fee, and then it's up to the manager and the artist how they deal with that on their side. We don't get involved in that side of things. And there are different structures that managers and artists have between themselves.
Thomas, how does it work on your side in terms of commissions? Is it commission based, or is it just
so we don't do representation unless in specific cases. In years back when Beyonce left Destiny's Child, we did a 2-year stint together with her, where back then CAA and eventually ICM had the global representation. We represented her in the region and did some shows. And yes, we back then Matthew Knowles was the manager, and we agreed on 10%. But there was also very premium artist fees that we had in the region. That was the reason why they worked with us. In general, when we book for either festivals or venues or for government events, it's 10%. But obviously, as is the case with agents, if they have an artist that is extremely successful and powerful, if I have a client that give me large volumes, that percent can slide towards the lower number. You know? So it's all about how much you need to keep the business and how well you work together.
Great, some really great answers. What advice for managers trying to break their artist into Europe or international markets? What advice would you have for managers, Dotun and Toby and Jackie? What advice would you have?
I think the important part is being measured about what markets you're going to start attacking, knowing where the potential audiences are. Obviously, especially at the moment, touring costs are high. So I think sometimes it has to be looked at as an early investment into some of these markets. So it has to be measured in terms of what markets you're looking at. There are lots of soft ticket or sort of industry facing events. So things like your Reaper Barns, your Eurosonics, your The Great Escapes, which are great opportunities to get in front of promoters, get in front of festival bookers, and get in front of agents if that's not something you have in place already. They do take applications online. I know some managers have had to try several years to get them on there. But at the same time, you have to be doing it when it's the right time to be going for those. Then following up with when it's the right time, when you've got evidence, whether that's streaming, whether that's social media engagement, following up with really small cap venues, I think is often the next move. But realistically, I think by that point, when there's the traction to be starting to look over in Europe, say you're in the UK, for example, there probably will be an agent that's going to be interested at that point. So if you feel like that's the conversation, I think it's then either reaching out to an agent. A lot of time we'll reach out to you if we feel like there's opportunities that you've been proving yourself within your home markets. We'll probably be reaching out to you by that point, and then having a wider strategy around how you're going to build it out in the long term is really what I would say is important. So yeah, I think often a lot of the time it's working with where is working at the time, proving tickets in those markets, looking at those industry type showcases that does get you that wider industry attention, whether that's agents booking festivals or promoters. And by then, generally, there will be an agent who is ready to take you on board.
Yes. I think everybody should be aware that bookers are not witches. They can always like check. And showcase festivals are always good, but you should decide at what time you apply for a showcase festival, because if it's too early, then you're not well prepared, you don't have a team. So think about, and for me, always or often I work with direct with artists, and it's more like play. The beginning is play, and then you can see sometimes there's an underrated venue and you say, yeah, the fee is really low, but let's do it. I have a good feeling. And then the one special person is in this venue and book you for the big festival the next year. So that would be my advice.
Anyone else? Toby, I wanted to sort of ask you a question. Like, how did you support your artist growth from small venues to the larger venues?
To be honest, with Nipple, we're actually doing his actual first London show. So I guess like his first bigger venue in comparison to what we've done before. I think a lot of it just comes from just increased exposure. He's done a lot of performances in the territory London where we're based prior to this. So like soft ticket stuff like, Dota mentioned, like the Great Escapes, the Soho Houses, stuff like that. I mean, he done some festival stuff too, All Points East, and just kind of, I think overall just building in the territories, visibility, exposure to the point where, you've got some sort of indication from the metrics that, you can actually sell tickets in that place. I think for us, he definitely could have, sold out his own show in London, prior to now, but I think for us, we wanted to approach, the show from a place where it would be crazy for him not to do it, where the demand's at a place where, when we put on the show, it's sold out in 24 hours and, there's demand past the capacity that we've done, and it just allows there to be more demand for future shows that we do. So, you're always going to be in a better place when, there's more demand than what's available than doing things prematurely. So, even things like BBC introducing, like those are all like good things to do prior to doing, your own show in a bigger capacity venue.
Great.
What Toby said there is important is like it depends on the type of music. So I think often in the guitar space, there are a lot more smaller showcases, smaller venues just to play where fans will turn up because it's that venue. I'd say in hip hop and R&B, that's less so. There are things from your, like you were saying, the BBC intros, your Great Escapes, etc. There are your more fan-facing stuff like your Blue Dot, your those type of like more culturally relevant events. So those are things to go for. But I think often when people are rushing into headlining, you kind of limit yourself because you kind of use up the demand, and then 6 months later you're wanting to go again. And there's not really the demand there or the right size capacity there for you. So I think taking a measured approach, especially in the hip hop R&B space where the climate is at the moment, in terms of the amount of festivals that have closed and non-existent at the moment, I think you've got to be measured and not rush it and watch the demand and jump on it when it is the right time.
Yeah, really good answers. I think Jackie, you sort of mentioned, you went, oh, we're not wizards. So I wanted to ask a question in regards to people's roles, and what do you wish more people understood about your role? But I think sometimes people don't understand like the different roles in terms of like Thomas,
Okay.
Booker, Dot and your agent. Sometimes people get them mixed up.
Together. Yes, it's sometimes a booking agent can be like a management too, or agent. People say my manager, but you are more the booker. But on the other hand, if you work direct with an artist, you do more than a normal booking agent do. And so sometimes I'm both. And sometimes I'm just the booker booking the shows, asking the management or whoever provide me with all the informations, and I go forward. And yes, on the other hand, I'm a booking agent or a curator. Maybe it's more clear. Curator for a festival, it means I do the booking for the festival. It's the other booking, 2 bookings and different, and then it comes together. Maybe it's a bit more clear.
What do people get wrong about our industry, about my side as my role? I think sometimes people think we're promoters in the sense that we put on shows ourselves or we fund the shows. Our job is to go out there and get opportunities for you from promoters who are the ones who actually put up the front of the money, who put up the capital, but take on the risk as well. I think people, like you say, people sometimes think we're management in the sense of thinking that we will build out the wider strategy. And I think I have done that as a younger agent, where you kind of take on the role of being a manager and as an agent. But once you're at a certain level and dealing with a certain amount of quantity, realistically, there needs to be a manager in place if the agent is able to actually, if the agent's not going to have the capacity, essentially, is what I'm saying, to be your manager at the same time. What else do they think? Yeah, I think it's understanding that strategy is the strategy, and the connections that we have is the real asset that we have, rather than we're going to take you to Glastonbury on the first and within a month. It's about how we're going to build to Glastonbury. What are the steps needed for you to get there?
Yeah, I would like to add that different countries have different kind of booking agents. Like the German system, it's totally different from the French system. Often in the French, the bookers are also the promoters. They have the club, and so it's more in the lower level, not in the high level. But this is you have to be aware. And with the music, always have to be like, for example, French hip hop artists is really difficult to book in Germany, because the Germans are not so in the French hip hop, and the French people don't want to go to the French hip hop in Germany. So this is little small things to think.
Right, Thomas, in terms of your role, very.
Yeah, I think from the grass is always green on the other side. I think, don't you say that the casino always wins? I think that must be the agents, right? They take 10% of whatever is traded and don't have to underwrite the risk. But I think in my experience in the Middle East is that the agent is so important, because traditionally in the Middle East, the manager would be the father of the family or the lawyer or the family doctor. it would be a pure sort of commercial protection arrangement that someone that signs a contract and perhaps manages the bank account, and then the agent is actually the person that builds the career, because they start with the bookings, and as Doten said, eventually gets you to those iconic festivals or events that if you have the capability that you should play. So I think I'm probably more confused with regards to what a manager in the UK is, because I would presume that the manager is the one that secures the commercial viability for the artist, helps them with sponsorship deals and get to the right radio stations, whatever. So the agent has something to work with. But I think perhaps there's blurred lines when it comes to where you are in your development and perhaps what your capabilities are.
Great. Toby, I know obviously your role in terms of working with bookers, because I know managers, we end up doing like 10,000 different roles. So in terms of working with the bookers and with the agents, you know, how do you see your role? Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was asking. Do you mean like in terms of like how we work, just like on a daily basis, or?
Yeah. So in terms
I mean, I think yeah, like I guess like yeah, just kind of like I said before, like keeping them updated with what got going on. You know, maybe if like there are some like festivals or cool show things that we might want to do, you know, keeping them across that. I mean, our agency also offer brand services as well. So you know, we obviously do build our own relationships with brands. You know, besides CAA agents, but you know, if there are any, you know, brands that, you know, we want to work with, we keep them across, you know, some of those targets, and you know, they'll help, you know, maybe get invites or, you know, with seeding and stuff. And likewise with like, you know, festivals and performances and stuff, you know, if there's anything that we target, you know, they'll kind of give us like, you know, an insight as to, you know, whether it's possible, some of the things and yeah, I guess yes, whether it's possible, and if not, what maybe we need to do to enable it to be something that is possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, great. We've got a few questions in the chat. Right, agents, do you need to see the artist live before committing?
It depends on agent to agent. I nearly have it as a hard and fast rule. Pretty much so. But obviously, if it's an artist that's international, that's not always the case. We do travel to go and see artists as well. In that case, but I would say more or less, yes, I think that would be a smart move from past experience. To be specific, I've done it as a young agent where I've signed an artist. It sounds amazing on record. Bring them over to the UK for the first London show, and it's like, oh, yeah, that wasn't it. But because of those experiences, I'd kind of try and stick to that rule now.
Okay, great. I think we've got some more agent ones. I know, Michelle, you said there's more questions. I'm trying to look through them. Got some more, but I'm trying to get everybody's.
Yeah, there is another one. And how much do you care about numbers versus quality show? Are you willing to take a risk on a very high quality show, I guess, even if the followers are under 5K on Instagram, for example?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If the quality is what comes first, absolutely. We are there to build careers. So that's when I say, so of course, if I'm taking on an artist that already has the traction, and already has the audience and has already proven tickets, yeah, cool, we might sign them next month here on Glastonbury stage, but we are still also very much there to take on newer artists. For example, some of our clients like 1975, Matt Bates, now CEO, signed them from like their first shows. The Libertines he signed from their first shows. So absolutely, if the quality is there, that's the main thing we've got to work with. But it's nice to have numbers as well.
We all love numbers. I think I'm going to ask another question. So what's the best way to maintain relationships during quiet periods? Because obviously we know that we have times where everything's really busy, and then yeah, it gets quiet for a while around these times as well. So what's the best way to maintain them relationships in quiet times? I think
Is that an agent question, or?
I think everyone can answer that, because I know that Thomas has to maintain his relationships with the agents, the booking agents. Toby has to maintain his relationships with agents and bookers. So yeah, everyone can give a little bit to this one.
Oh, so let me jump into it, because I'm probably the one with the least relevance here. Because if I bother an agent without being in the market to buy, I think I'll lose the relationship with the agent. So I think they kind of appreciate that I don't take up their time till I'm actually there to do some business, or they have an artist that's available. And if an agent tells me, look, we're not going to tour the artist in your region till 2026, there's no point in me harassing them for the next year. So they'll get back in touch when they are ready to start talking touring, because they'll want to get my offer as they'll want to get everybody else's offer in my market when it's relevant.
Okay. So yours is a little bit different then. So you're only in touch when you're going to book them, really.
Yeah, because I don't, either the agent will hit me up and say, we're planning to do the following, what kind of money or what kind of deals can we get in your markets for this artist, or I will suggest an agent that we would like to work with their talent, and they will then let me know if there's a window of opportunity, or if there's not. There's no point in having the conversations, because again, on the agent side, the manager is not ready to discuss that because it's too far out.
Okay, great. Toby?
I think like, I guess, like, for us, I feel like the non-active periods might be periods where, Nip is in studio, we're working on building a project, and those are times that, even creatively, there might be people who want to reach out to, and I think there's other ways to utilize agents other than just for bookings. They have a network same way a manager does. So, whether it might be getting in contact with another manager or another artist or another producer, they might have those relationships. So those are ways to stay in contact. There's other ways to work other than just specifically on live related things. So I think those are good things. Obviously, naturally, like mentioned before, building a good rapport, maybe going to shows together if you have artists that you're, both have similar interests with. Of course, agents or promoters can help with those things. But yeah, I think overall it's just making that effort to keep consistent communication and leaning on them for in the ways that you can, other than just the ways that you think you can. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if it's just a question of understanding something a bit better, like simple things like that, I think are good ways to just, maintain communication in times that I guess, yeah, you might not be actively doing shows or actively, promoting the project.
Yeah, great. Dustin, you got any?
I agree with Toby as well. Yeah, like you say, often it's an artist you're passionate about. So there are still things to update, find out what they're working on, what the plans are. Often we'll get demos to check out, etc. And yeah, staying in contact, even like going for lunch and dinner, just to see how they're doing. But I think there is also an understanding of, especially with experienced managers, there's an understanding of like when we're not working actively on the shows right now, so there's not an expectation for us to be pulling in bookings because that's not what they want. So yeah, I think it's both having an understanding and also because you care about the artist and because you tend to have that relationship, it's kind of natural just to see what people are up to and hear what's going on their side.
Right. Right. I think the time for the breakout rooms now. I'm going to pass it back to Michelle, but thank you so much, and you've all been amazing, and I hope everybody's got all the information. I know that I've learned a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much once again to every one of you.